Welcome to The Curtains Are Blue, the show where I give you my direct, brief thoughts on movies, music, video games, and more. With Fantastic Beasts 3 recently having come out and bombed at the box office, shocker, I felt it would be appropriate to give some brief thoughts on all the Harry Potter movies, since it's in the same universe. Note, I'm ranking the Harry Potter movies based off of my personal opinion. If you're a hardcore Potter fan, then some of these rankings might upset you. I'm not including the Fantastic Beasts movies because thus far they're all boring and I don't remember anything about them. Also, full disclosure, I haven't read any of the Harry Potter books, and while I grew up, I was the target audience for these films, but I didn't watch them or become a fan until the last movie came out in 2011. Alright, so starting things off, my least favorite Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I know that people love the first two Harry Potter movies, a lot of it is really good, and I know they like it for nostalgic purposes, but this one is just incredibly boring to me. I mean, really what all happens besides at the end of the movie they destroy the first Horcrux. I mean, it's not a bad movie, I'll watch this one over any of the Fantastic Beasts movies, but it's more random things happening than anything I really remember. I do love Dobby though. Number 7, The HalfBlood Prince. Basically, I feel the same about this as I do about the Chamber of Secrets. The plot is essentially that everyone is horned up and they're trying to find out who wrote a certain book. I put it above Chamber of Secrets because it overall is more adult and mature. And obviously, Snape kills Dumbledore, spoiler alert, is a pretty significant plot point. Honestly though, I can't remember anything else that happens in this movie. Number 6, Deathly Hallows Part 1. It's got some good scenes and in the plot makes sense. It's good at setting things up for the grand finale, but because this is part 1 of a 2-part story, it's really just mostly all set up with little to no payoff. The acting is great and there are serious consequences, R.I.P. Dobby, but what really kills this movie for me is the fact that Ron thinks Harry and Hermione are together behind his back, and I really just hate those kind of tropes. Alright, so number 5, this is where I'm probably going to lose some people, The Sorcerer's Stone. It's a great family picture, and I actually do remember watching it on video when it came out, and I liked it. It just doesn't do it for me like it does for other people. It sets up the characters and the universe nicely, but nothing really happens in this movie after the first 45 minutes and until the last 15 minutes. Besides those 60 minutes, it feels just like filler. I can't be too harsh on it because I know it's the first film in the series and they were still getting started, and it's not a bad movie by any means, but overall I personally find it less interesting than other people do. That being said, what it does well, it does really well. Great casting, great production design, and I remember this movie more than I do Chamber of Secrets. P.S. Go Hufflepuff. Number 4, Prisoner of Azkaban. I know a lot of people who will tell me that this is their favorite film in the series, and I can agree, it's really good. It's the first film in the franchise where I felt interested in what was going on. Gary Oldman is probably my favorite casting in the entire movie, if not the whole franchise. Also, is it just me, or does anyone else think that time travel could have been used at later points in the series? Number 3, Order of the Phoenix. If you can't tell by now, I like the films in this franchise where things are actually happening. I can actually summarize the plot of this movie, which is Voldemort is back, so Harry and his friends train a bunch of Hogwarts students to prepare for his arrival while dealing with cancer personified Dolores Umbridge, who arguably is a more dislikable villain than Voldemort. Number 2, Deathly Hallows Part 2. Full disclosure, this is the first and only Harry Potter movie I've seen in the theater. Some friends of mine invited me to it, and I loved it. Granted, a lot of it is just payoff, but I like how fully realized of a character Harry is in this movie. I love the decision he makes willingly to let himself be killed in order to destroy the Horcrux within him and save the lives of others. Ralph Fiennes shines as Voldemort, and the scene where Snape dies is a genuine tearjerker. Basically, the film makes you care for a guy who was a genuine jerk to Harry for 7 films, which is impressive. And number 1, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I love this movie because it's got a plot that makes sense within its own story, the Triwizard Tournament, but it also plays a role in the larger story by bringing Voldemort back finally, and it also establishes new characters that we love, like Mad-Eye Moody, and it introduces some new spells to the Harry Potter lore, such as Avada Kedavra. It makes sense, it's fun to watch, it's well acted, the pacing is good, and really the only complaint I have is that Ron, again, thinks that Harry and Hermione are an item behind his back. I mean, was that all that J.K. Rowling could do with him? And that's my ranking of the Harry Potter movies. Thank you all for watching this video. If you're like me, you have a low attention span, so I like to talk about movies and whatnot, but I like to get to the point. No disrespect intended to other reviewers who like to take their time explaining things, but I prefer to be quick and concise. If you'd like to subscribe, I make these videos every week, and I hope you enjoy watching them as much as I do making them.